Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who, if he ever comes to your birthday party, do not open the present that he brings you. It's John Levingood.
I used to have a cat.
A toy train, yeah. Holy mackerel.
That was a hell of a scene. Even though I had seen that scene before, rewatching the movie, like that scene, it's funny too, because this scene. We've seen this movie kind of like 10 times
Yeah,
probably at
you're
our
right.
age. And yet the funny thing is that this might be the best executed this scene ever was from whatever, I don't know, 1984 slasher I first saw it in, or something that was, just no execution care put into it almost. But yeah, dude, that when that kid and he full on pulls out by the nape of its neck the entire dead cat, and then poor Dr. Rose runs over and she's almost like taking it like the kid did something wrong. She takes it like almost so upset that he has it, like to try and to cuddle it and to see if it's okay. It's obviously not okay, lady. It's obviously not okay. It's a dead cat in a box.
When she said,
Schroeder, that is
"Where's
not Schrodinger's
mustache?"
cat.
Yeah, oh, Schroeder's.
That's not Schroeder. That one was just dead.
Oh man, where's mustache? Like you, once that present goes, you're, oh, mustache is in there. You made a great point, John, and this isn't a detriment to this movie because, I mean, ever since the 20s when vampire movies would get made, like they all borrow from each other. But I think you're right about this smile. We've seen it before. This is The Ring meets It Follows meets. You're right, maybe 8 other movies, but it's
Truth or
still
Dare? I
Truth or
mean,
Dare,
this
yeah. And like it still stands on its own though, because it's such an easy, like high concept idea and it's easy to market. So I was researching this before we started. The marketing campaign for this movie, it won a Shorty Award for best viral marketing. It won a Webby Award for theatrical viral marketing campaign, and it won a Clio's Award for viral stunt reaching fans in unexpected ways grand award. And I was
and you
reading,
win the award for introducing me to awards I had no idea existed.
yeah, so it was up for a Webby, and so it's just kind of nut. Like, so like they like what they did with this one. Remember when they did this, John? They sent people to baseball games and NFL games, and they were just smiling on camera with a smile shirt, or they sent them to the Today Show just a smile in the background, and then that went viral, and then they like kept going, and then like that helped with ticket sales. This was the number one highest grossing horror film of 2022. It cleared 200 million on a $17 million budget. Like it beat Megan. It beat Nope. It beat The Black Phone. Like this is a movie that was supposed to go to Paramount Plus. They screened it. Paramount screened it and like, oh, people like this. Let's put it in theaters. $217 million later, it's a smash hit. So I don't know. I just love that. Like this was a scrappy little movie, very high concept. You just smile. You're cursed. Everyone knows what's happening. If you've seen, like you said, John, if you've seen horror movies before, you know it's the drill is. But the jump scares are good. The performances are good. It's a devious ending. Amalgamated Dynamics did the visual special effects. They're the guys who did all the Alien movies. Then there's the Alien 3 homage in this when the therapist's mouth is dripping. That's an Alien 3 reference because Amalgamated Dynamics did it. But it's just a very successful, knows what it is film. And I admire that about it.
Yeah, I think that it's funny. This movie is nothing but a stitchwork horror of the most typical tropes. And that withstanding everything, first off, all the actors do a splendid job. I want to be
Yeah.
really clear. Like this is an all-in filmmaking in all dimensions movie, but all the actors do a great job. The editing is perfect. It's so good that normally you shouldn't notice. You should only notice if the editing is bad. Whereas this is something where sometimes something will happen and I'll think about it. I'm like, that had to be edited so perfectly to have worked the way that it did. Again, the effects are fantastic. The sound is perfect. The weird kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't quite call it scoring, but the weird music-ish sounds they use for the buildup of their slow tension buildup for the creep factor. Everything comes together into these wonderful synergistic executions for everything. For the jump scares, they never feel cheap.
No.
Even though they're clearly jump scares, they never feel cheap. The buildup is always solid, right? It's always creepy. It's always a good slow dread build. It works even if you know what's going to happen. And yeah, I mean, this is just execution all over. It's like you put Mark McGuire in a wiffle ball game. All of a sudden, I care about the sport.
and and like, you know what's interesting too is, since it's an entity, the jump scares work because that thing can pop up anywhere. The alarm can go off, a head can fall down in front of a window, the computer scene, which I love. There can be a lot of, and there's even some fun fake out ones with the refrigerator. Like, I love when a character opens a refrigerator in a horror movie. Nothing makes me happier. And then there's nothing that happens. Or in the case of Friday the 13th Part 2, there's a head in there. But I like that the entity can make the jump scares happen anywhere. And I appreciate that about it. And also too, I sent you some questions, and one of the questions was like, what does this movie do well? And one thing, just one random thing, but you were talking about how well it is, but also the cinematography, because they shot this in a 2-to-1 aspect ratio. They didn't do it in traditional 2:3:9 like widescreen format. So I remember watching this in the theater in 2022, and there's just some big heads on screen. And it made me really happy because the 2-to-1 aspect ratio was a smart decision, because it just, like the Ritual, John, that we talked about on the podcast, where, the Ritual is a 2-to-1 aspect ratio and the trees look huge. The monster looks amazing. And in this one, you just have big old faces on screen smiling. And they look great. And it was a smart idea to be like, yes, we should shoot in 2-to-1 to make these look better. And I was also reading, I read something interesting. The head of Paramount Pictures, the CEO, Brian Robbins, said, the spectacular worldwide performance of Smile demonstrates what is truly possible when you deliver a brilliantly sticky marketing campaign on top of a masterfully made high concept horror film. And I agree. Like, this movie's just Smile. Some dude smiles at you until you're dead 7 days later, or a little longer. So it's very high concept. It's very investigative, but then they had a good marketing campaign, and I think I admire that with this movie. Even when nothing, but you know what, John? Like, we like some sports, we still know it's going to be played, but if it's a good game, it's a good game. It's like, it's not like it's changing the world, but if it's a competitive game, we're still into it, if that makes sense.
It is
Uh,
so interesting though how this movie, and I'm going to say something that could be taken out of context is almost negative, but it's like, folks, stay with me because it's basically what I was saying earlier. But if you just had like the 5 bullet points about this movie, it sounds like every other goddamn movie. Or let me rephrase it. It sounds like 15 movies that you've already seen and that weren't very good. Like Truth or Dare. Perfectly serviceable movie, by the way, Truth or Dare. I enjoyed watching it once and I never need to see it again, period. The end. Like, unless you wanted to podcast about it. That's the only reason I watch it. Again, would be to podcast, because there are plenty of movies just like Truth or I'm not straight, not Truth or Dare. Was it Truth or Dare
yeah,
with
the
the
smile,
smiling
yeah, where they
demon? Is what?
smile, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Make it. See, that's just it's like that. That's how hard it stuck to me. I'm not even sure what I'm what I'm conjuring up in my head. But when you just do something well, we don't mind seeing the same stories again when they're done well. And the irony is that when they're done well, you only know it's the same story when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point. It kind of, what's interesting about Smile? It sort of, there's a couple things you want when telling a horror film, like to keep people in, like, let's call it one, where you just watch it and enjoy it. But if you go to two and you're like, I've seen that before, I've seen that before. Oh, that's boring. Oh, that's borrowed. You're not going to enjoy it. But for some reason, Smile's able to keep you just in the zone of enjoying it, if that makes sense. So the
Oh
first time
yeah,
you watch it, you're not like, I know that, I've seen that. Like, oh, I do. Like, oh, she's going to the guy who had it before in prison. We've seen that many times before. Oh, she's going to the wife of a dead victim. We've seen that 100. I just watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they go to the sister's house. Like, it's always that, but it still works though, because the smiling faces are creepy. There's some good jump scares. Poor Sosie Bacon is just stressed the entire time. And yeah, it's yeah, and but I like that we're being real here, because this really is 15 movies smashed into one. But that's smart. I feel like that's what makes, if you okay, if you're gonna tell a
it's fine though.
non-IP,
Yeah.
if you're gonna tell a non-IP horror film, like a Scream, Conjuring, Insidious, a remake, a prequel, a reboot, you might as well make something like Smile that feels like every other movie, and it makes 200 million. So I think that's a smart thing, if that makes sense. Like, if you're gonna make
It,
a like I don't know what this. You know what's interesting? You see the trailer for Smile, and you're like, okay, I know what that is. I'm gonna go see it and have fun. So there's no big thoughts. You're not like, yeah.
I could talk to you and the listeners at the same time, and I'm going to ask a question. I want you to think about your answer, but think about, haven't you ever left a movie and been like, this is just like this movie? And that is a negative strike again. They did this just like it. Oh, and then they just did that. And then they did this stupid tropey thing. But then at the same time, think of how many times you've gone to see a movie and you may have liked it or not, but you say, man, I would love to see this exact movie directed by this person or with this, like that is your fantasy. You want to see, we even joke about it. I can't wait until AI comes out so that I can see, what if Halloween was made by Wes Craven? What if Halloween was made by Mike Flanagan and cast by Mike Flanagan? What would these iterations look like? I want to see the different versions of these things because there are the people who love Rob Zombie's Halloween, there are the people who hate Rob Zombie's Halloween. But the fact is, it's wonderful that it was made because no movie is going to please everyone. And for the people who loved it, I'm glad it's out there. By the way, I happen to be one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I just like brutal shit, realized well, executed well, the brutal crap, even if it, dullens or dulls, I should say, the intricacy of the story.
You know what I loved about Rob Zombie's, or what I love, not loved, past tense. What I love about Rob Zombie's Halloween is that it's Rob Zombie's Halloween. When you watch it, the first 15 minutes, you're like, ugh, this is gross. And then it just gets more and more. And like Rob Zombie didn't really give you much room and he made it his own. And I respect that about the film. I respect that he made Rob Zombie's Halloween, if that makes sense. So I dug that. Like that's one thing I like about it. Even though we know the plot, but it's Rob Zombie's version of it. So like, heck yeah. But I mean, think like Mad Max Fury Road. It's a fourth one. Scorsese won his Oscar for The Departed. That's a remake. So it's James Cameron. I love him. He's amazing. But True Lies was a remake. Let's see. Avatar is basically Ferngully and Pocahontas. So
Exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely.
and so I mean, if I think people only complain about a movie being derivative when it's not successful, or it doesn't, or it's too similar, or it doesn't justify its existence. I think with Smile, you could say it's very derivative or it borrows, but it does it well. And so I think since everyone was talking about the blockbuster success of it, it has a mean ending and the
Oh
marketing
yeah.
campaign. So I don't think a lot of people, I mean, some were. It didn't have the greatest cinema scores, like B minus, but I think most people, if you're just going in to watch a horror movie, it satisfies exactly what you need. You don't have to think much. There's no commentary about anything. Like they say this is about mental health, but I mean, it's about a monster who's. I have a question. One question for you, John. So this is a movie about, as she's a therapist. The Sosie Bacon's character is as a therapist, Rose, and she grew up really rough. Her mom was an addict, I believe, had mental health issues. Her sister was older. I'm not sure how much older, but older. So she left, and then so what happened was when little Rose was young, she saw her mom, I guess, ODing, and she didn't call the cops, and her mom died. And then she became a therapist. One day she gets this patient who tries to explain things to her. She kind of says platitudes to her. Her patient kills herself. When she does, the curse is placed on her. So then her mom suffered from mental health issues, and she's going around to her fiance, her therapist, her boss. No one believes her except for her ex, Joel, who's a police officer. So he's a detective. So he's going to follow the breadcrumbs anyway. But what do you think about movies? Sometimes I mean, what's great about horror is you can Trojan horse a message in. So the Babadook or Dawn of the Dead. You can you can add a message in your film. But when it comes to like mental health, I know they're trying to make an example of it because everyone who's not dealing with like all the cops are like, she's Fruit Loop, she's crazy, she's nuts. But then when Rose is doing this, everyone thinks she's insane. But do you think it? I don't think it really makes that much of a jump on mental health issues because there's an entity doing this. So you
Yeah.
get what they're saying, but it really, I don't think I could ever be like, this is an amazing example of mental health.
I feel like people were pulling at the low hanging fruit that was a false fruit when they
Yeah.
make that connection because I agree with you wholeheartedly. the fact that she is being treated like she's going crazy when she is not, that doesn't mean, oh, people should listen more. They didn't present it in that way. She was being as batshit crazy as one could be. There's no room for you're not having a breakdown. There's no,
Yeah.
and by the way, there's no room for when she comes up with they sound just totally insane explanations for something in the beginning that just don't align to reality.
Yeah.
So if you, whereas if instead this demon killed people, but they died more subtly, but it appeared to you like they died gruesome deaths, right? Or you
Mm-hmm.
know, like in other words, if there was some contrast from what she observed to what really happened, and there was something about her figuring this out and learning how to explain it differently, that doesn't happen. There's nothing about it looking unbrutal when it looks brutal to her to reverse that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to believe her. They make her seem as crazy as possible. They make her seem as crazy as the first person in the first horror scene that you see about some possessed demon or something, where that person dies a horrible, gruesome death, and they're saying crazy shit when they see it. So I don't know. I see that this happens in movies, and that particular concept is executed well in movies. But I don't even think they're going for that here.
Mm-hmm. No,
I don't.
yeah.
So and you know that's no fault to people who are looking for that. That someone might have just thought that because of the premise that that's what they were going for, and then you sometimes we kind of see what we expect to see at least a little bit, and you came in with good intentions and the idea of people's mental health in mind. So if you followed those breadcrumbs, I'm not saying bad on you,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that I don't see that. Looking back post hoc.
No, I agree with you. I didn't even think about that until the research of looking into this. And I started thinking about other movies that slip in a message about mental health. But I always feel like movies that tackle mental health but bring a monster in that actually are making those people crazy, then I kind of like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, but this doesn't work. And you know, I, but like you said, I didn't get that message from it the first time around. I think this was, if you think about the short film that they made, which they released in 2020 and did really well. Let's see, what was the name of it? I've watched it a couple times. I sent it to you. Oh, Laura hasn't slept. She's
Or
seeing
hasn't
her
slept, right?
therapist. So I think that one, you learn that she's seen something. It dooms her. She pops. The one from the actress from Laura hasn't slept is actually the star of that. Actually pops up in this movie, and she like straight up slits her throat, which is kind of crazy. But I think that one's with a therapist. So I think it's, I guess, John, I have a question. If this movie's about a dude named Hank that sees somebody at an In and Out doing the same thing and he gets cursed, no history of mental health, no huge weight on their shoulders, and this happens to them, what's the difference in movies? I know that's a weird question, but this one
The
she's a
same trend is going to
therapist.
happen, right?
Yeah,
The same trend is going to happen. And her being a therapist did not facilitate her figuring this out in any special way.
yeah.
So that wasn't pertinent. It was really just tropey. Again, not a negative thing, but yeah, the therapist who went through the midsummer found my parents dead trauma, or some variation thereof, um, right? Becomes a therapist, which actually matches a lot of reality. People with a lot of troubled pasts usually end up wanting to try and solve and or help others with troubled pasts or traumas. So but again, it's very tropey, and I think that's why they chose it. I don't think it was chosen because that's a healer. I think it was chosen because this is tropey and it's a healer, and this works so well, and now we have crazy people. I don't know. Again, I think it was a low hanging fruit that worked out really well because it was executed fantastically. It would be awesome if I was going on a stroll in a national park and there was some apple tree that happened to be there. And you know what fruit that I'm going to eat, Mark? It's the one that hung low, and I'm going to enjoy that fruit on my little walk. It doesn't low hanging
Yeah.
doesn't mean bad.
No,
It means accessible and enjoyable in many cases.
that's amazing that you say that too, because this movie, it, it I think it delights in that. I think it's like, listen, we are clearly borrowing from other films. We are going for low hanging fruit, but we're going to hire good actors. We're going to shoot it well. The cinematography is going to be interesting. We're going to paint our hospital pink. We are going to have a wild, mean ending. We're going to have neat special effects. And you know what's nice too? When you have a movie that's all, and we're not hating on it, but like all was low hanging fruit, you can focus on the perform. This movie took a month to film too. So when you have a movie that is so, like you said, tropey, easy to follow, that's not hard for the shoot either, because you're not figuring out intense, shots, chase scenes. You're just sort of limiting your locations, and you know exactly where the movie's going, and I think that helps you just shoot it. And I think that's why it made 200 million. The marketing campaign in this. Also, John, this is real. I have a quiz for you real quick. Kyle Gallner's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of this guy. I put together some names, and I want you to tell me who is kind of like the 21st century Scream King.
Okay. So
Okay.
I just get to pick from them.
Yeah. I have some names, or if you have names, you can bring them up. But I'm just gonna throw some names at you. Ethan Hawke. He's the Purge, Sinister, Black Phone recently. He's had a pretty good run. Bill Skarsgård. He was in It 1 and 2, Nosferatu, Villains, Barbarian. So we have that. You good on those two? We have Hawke and
Mm-hmm.
Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Patrick Wilson, Hard Candy, Insidious 1, 2, and 5, Conjuring 1 through 3, In the Tall Grass, and Bone Tomahawk. Then we have Justin Long, Jeepers Creepers, Tusk, Barbarian, Drag Me to Hell. He's in he's in a couple more horror movies, but I just want to get some big hitters, like some theatrical release. Now, when I'm doing this, I know that there are people who have done direct to DVD horror films that have been in like 50 of them, like the cask of the guy from Devil's Rejects who's been in so many of them. But like, so I'm just trying to talk about theatrically, or like movies that get a big push. So like maybe let's say mainstream 21st century Scream King, mainstream. And then last but not least, Kyle Gallner, Smile, Smile 2, Strange Darling, which is incredible, Five Cream, Jennifer's Body, which we talked about. You can listen to that episode. The Passenger, which he's incredible in. Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. So between all of those actors, John, who are we going to give the mainstream 21st century with at least 4, 5 horror films in there? Like Daniel Kaluuya has done Get Out and Nope. Those are strong, but I'm trying to go with like 5 or more,
He wouldn't
four
be my
more.
pick, but no Nick Cage in there.
I mean, Nick Cage has what? Wicker Man. What
The
else?
Color Out of
Mandy.
Space,
Oh, Nick.
Mandy, Arcadian,
Oh gosh.
Wally's Wonderland.
Oh gosh.
He's been in the new Renfield.
Oh man.
He's been now again. He's not my pick though. He wouldn't be my pick.
Okay. You know what? But
But
that's why you're
he's
here. Nick Cage has earned his way into the equation.
so I'm gonna say not Hawk because my horror king is not doing highbrow all the time. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ethan
Yeah.
Hawke is
Yeah.
fantastic, and I love these movies. But no, and I'm not saying Skarsgård because my guy is not outwardly and obviously the villain. If he's the villain, it's a shock at the end,
All right.
right? For
Yeah.
my horror king is more like a Bruce Campbell. You know what I mean? He's the good guy or a victim. It's not Patrick Wilson because most of his movies are basically the same two roles,
Yeah.
or
And
literally the same two.
Insidious and Conjuring, he's just a good dude. So
Right.
so let me break this down. Hard Candy, he's a child, and he's a murderer, and he's looking for an underage child to torture. That's probably his most hard. And in the tall grass, he's a polo wearing. We've talked about him a lot. He's a
Mhm.
polo wearing, pastel polo wearing, mustachioed villain. Bone Tomahawk, he's a good dude. And then in Conjuring 1 through 3 and Insidious 1 through 5, those 6 movies, he's a good dude. He's P Dubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm also not going to say Justin Long, even though boy,
Whoa.
I do love the roles he has. He just doesn't have quite. I don't know. It's almost like he's one or two movies away from not enough for me. But you know what else? I like the understatement of Kyle Gallner's characters. And by the way, there was one that you didn't mention, and it's kind of like a horror fantasy dramedy called The Cleanse
Oh, the
that I would
cleanse.
strongly recommend to people. It's about people who go to a like a group retreat, and it's so that you can work out your inner demon, but your inner demon literally manifests, and but taken seriously to a dangerous point. I really, really liked the cleanse. I loved the trailer for the cleanse. I was really nervous about the quality of the cleanse. I saw it, I loved it. And I only watched it because he's in so much other stuff. And there was one other actress I can't remember right now that was also in it that I recognized. But I like that he was in Jennifer's Body and the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street as not insignificant victims.
He's a good kid in Jennifer's Body.
But he's a victim in both of these movies, but his character is not insignificant. His character has a vector role for our killer or for the story in both cases. So I like the roles he takes in this. It's a more interesting role. It's like an understated hero, not quite an anti-hero, if you will, but understated hero. He's got interesting roles. He's my Bruce Campbell. You know what I mean? He's the guy I'm looking for to be my horror king.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And Aaron Newirth agrees with, and he's also in Red State, and he pops up in Red Eye as well. But yeah, have you watched The Passenger yet, John?
So it's funny when you mention the passenger, I'm like, are we talking about El Pasajero, the Spanish language film that came out like 2 years ago that I thought was awesome, by the way, and I reviewed on the site. But clearly, we're not talking about that because he was not in that.
Yeah, he's incredible in it. That I think I gave him my favorite performance of a couple years ago, male performance in that movie. He's really good. It's more of a thriller, but dealt with horror elements. I mean, there's death in it, brutal, but he's incredible. And also, too, he's so good in Strange Darling. And if you think about Smile 1 and 2, good dude. I mean, he's gonna pass the stuff. We'll get to Smile 2 later. Strange Darling, I don't want to spoil anything. Five Cream, he's a dirt bag. Jennifer's Body, good kid. Passenger, not great. Nightmare on Elm Street, good kid. The Cleanse, I haven't seen it. And then Red State, I'm not quite, but just has a variance of horror performances. So for me, it was like, I think if we're going by money and prestige, it's P Dub, but Gallner's our guy.
I mean, for my idea of
Yeah,
what a
no,
horror
I'm
film
with
is,
you. I
right?
want to, yeah, like P
I
Dub
could
hasn't.
totally see someone picking Patrick Wilson. If I'm going on core entertainment value of the movies that they've done, I'm probably going to say Patrick Wilson. If I'm going to go on the best horror movies, I'm probably going to go with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
Right? Like it's different. If I'm picking like the things that are just the most wildly entertaining, I might be picking Nick Cage.
yeah. I mean, listen, Mandy and Willy's Wonderland and Colorado Space. That's hard to beat, but he's just he's very Nick Cagey in him, if that makes sense. There's
And
variation. Well,
Mom and Dad,
oh yeah.
where parents are murdering kids, like
Wicker Man, he's punching people in the bear suit.
you love that bear suit punch, and I love that you love it because I love it too. Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, I mean, just at least YouTube this if you don't watch the movie. He wears a bear suit and he just runs by and he punches this like middle-aged woman. He did not have to punch her. She was just
Nope. Yep.
strolling in a bear suit. In a bear suit.
Oh, John, we left out Long Legs.
Oh, right, right. Super recent long legs. I was not a big fan of that. Most people are raving like crazy about it. I'm not going to lie, amazingly executed, and yet I can acknowledge that and say I just thought it was okay.
I love it, but I think I just like the director a lot. You know how much I love
There's
Black
no
Coat's
denying
Daughter.
it's not an
Yeah,
incredibly well-made movie.
yeah.
I just the story didn't connect with me. I thought it was I thought it kept getting too deep for its own britches, and then when it ended, I'm like, no, Bob was right. I think it's too deep for his britches. He couldn't connect it. And other people are like, holy shit, that ending. So I mean, that ending just clearly wasn't for me.
I I think it's a movie that I just haven't I've researched, but I just enjoy the mood of it, and I like Michael Monroe's character a lot. I dig that film.
I
A lot of
think I, I think
smiling.
I like the first half way more than the second half. I like the middle third more than the last third. It's just when as it was going to crescendo, I again, all I can say is the same phrase because I don't have better words. It just didn't connect for me.
Yeah. Well, I still haven't accepted that doll that you sent me. It's still outside. I threw it in the backyard, John, with the orb in the head.
I was trying to think of something clever to say. I couldn't
Hey,
do.
and like, listen, getting back to Smile, one thing I do appreciate it is it was based on a short film. So Parker Finn made it, and one thing when you
Really good short film,
yeah,
folks, by the way, to look up.
and we've talked about Mama on the pod and how those people are definitely getting arrested. We did Trick or Treat. Evil Dead first was Within the Woods. There's Lights Out, which was a horror short before it became a movie. The Babadook Saw was a short. Oculus, Terrifier, What We Do in the Shadows, District 9, Darkness Falls. The movies that became The Grudge. They were what, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and in a corner. They're about 3 minutes long. Rare Exports, which you've written about, John, was a short film. And what I admire about short films that become successful feature length is like short films by nature have to be very high concept and very specific. Like Night Swim just is a lady in a pool who disappears. So you have to have a very simple idea. And so once you make that, it's a nice calling card. But when people go, hey, stretch this into a 2 hour long movie, then you got to add lore. You have to add more characters. You have to add, and this movie was smart. It didn't really even try to build much lore, and it kept it to the therapist setting, and it scaled everything back, which was smart. But I just liked the way that he took a short film and expanded it into something that didn't feel like a short film expanded, if that makes sense.
I think that that concept though was more expandable readily, right? Because like Rare Exports, I enjoyed the movie, but I'm not jumping to revisit it much. It was like it was pretty good. Like your voice goes up when you say it. Whereas the two short films they made about it were, oh my God, outstanding. Like I didn't even know how you were going to make a movie about this, and I didn't even think about the consequence. So I was just like, I can't wait to buy this and watch this. And it was so woefully disappointing. And then even when I knew what it was and I rewatched it, normally that tempers my enjoyment a lot and I can enjoy it. It's pretty good. But the shorts are amazing. And there was another one too that got a movie release in the last year or two, and I had reviewed it after it went through film fests several, God, like probably 5 years ago at this point, called Tethered. And Tethered was again, it was a super outstanding short about a blind kid who was tethered to this old cabin in the woods by his mother, and there's this recording that she left him on an old tape deck that he plays every day, and it's just harrowing, and you're like, what happened to his mother? And it turns out he's tethered, spoiler alert for like the 8 minute movie, but 8 minute show, but it's that she somehow knew something horrible was happening to her. She was transforming, and she is the monster in the woods where if he wanders too far, she will destroy or eat him or something. So they made a movie out of this thing. But the thing is that short is includes the great reveal.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because that's the thing. Great shorts often include the great reveal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so once you make the movie, and I'm not saying it's spoiled because I've already seen the short, it's just I don't need to see 90 minutes of this. I've already seen the so I haven't seen Tethered the movie, by the way. I kind of am afraid to watch it because I love the short so much. But that's a tough thing. But again, the Smile Demon, we once you just give it this like one line of dialogue that it's a transmissible this that or the other. When you witness the horrible trauma, the demon now infects you. Da, 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 da. It builds on your fear and terror until you kill yourself, and then the next person witnesses that. It's just it's like the next transferable infectious evil movie. Whereas things like Tethered or things like Rare Exports don't have that. Once you give me the concept that a Saint Nicholas is an organism that exists in the wild, and then the movie didn't even follow that, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was more of the Saint Nicholases are the elves, and Krampus was the thing to fear. Nice idea on paper. Didn't didn't do it for me. I guess it was a good movie. Boy, I'm going a lot about rare
No,
exports,
no, but listen,
folks. If you don't know about rare exports,
you make a great point though, because if you give away the twist in the short film, if I've seen the short, I'm not going to go watch the 90-minute feature. But I think if you have something like a Saw
right?
or an Evil Dead or even something where, Smile, there is a demon out there killing people. Well, guess what? The demon can kill another person. The demon can go after another person, and that makes sense. So I think that really works. And like even the Grudge and the Grudge 2, that's what started the big Smile, like the eventual, like in Ju-on, the like the Grudge, the like the face of the kids, that
Mm-hmm.
those shorts started that. But if it's about a curse, you can just have it go to somebody else. Then you can tackle a little bit of lore in it. And I think what was smart about Smile, The Ring was a huge blockbuster. And I think people like Dead Silence. That's a cop trying to figure things out. Mothman Prophecies trying to figure things out. Fallen trying to figure something out. And I think even slasher movies, every Scream, like who did it? We got to think. We got to do research. We got to figure this out. And I think one of the appeals of that is it's like you're trying to figure out with the audience, you're on the same level playing field as they are. And it's I think that's kind of fun because you're learning with them. But if you watch like a Nightmare on Elm Street, well, that I wouldn't say that one, because in the third one, or she what Nancy comes back and tells the kids what's going on. They try to battle
As the
him.
therapist, right?
Yeah, I love that one. Like, so and I think in 4 and 5 too, they know what Freddy's all about. But I think when you do a Jason, the dude's just trying to kill him. Halloween, dude's trying to kill him. You know who Michael Myers is. There's really no mystery. You're just not dying from Michael Myers. But I think on these, you're going on you're meeting this person, you're meeting that person, you're wondering this, you're going through this, and then eventually, the one thing I like about the Smile movies is when you're going through this journey, you just it's all. Oh, so a question about the entity, John. When does it get you? So as soon as it's smile, as soon as you catch that smile, you're screwed, right? Because some characters can go kill somebody. So the smile entity, it gets in you in about 7 days. It messes with you. It feeds off your trauma. That's what they say it does to people. So it feeds off your trauma. It's evil, malevolent. So according to the wiki, it's evil, malevolent, black-hearted, intimidating, sadistic, ruthless, vile, cruel, heartless. It finds great pleasure in psychologically tormenting its victims. It drives you to insanity and you kill yourself in front of somebody, and then that transfers to somebody else. And it's kind of brilliant too, because if you see someone committing suicide, then you start freaking out. They're like, oh, that's just a paranoid delusion because you saw that. It makes sense. But does it have you immediately? Because some people do go, they've in Brazil and the other guy, they'll go kill somebody and pass it. Did the demon plan that? Like, when does it have you? And I know there's no answer to that, John, but like, when, because in this movie, Rose, in a couple days into it, is taking the cat and killing it and putting it in a box. So when is it inescapable? Is it always inescapable?
Well, I think that it was inescapable from the time that you witnessed the horrible trauma.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase. I'm cheating because the second movie spells that out in those
Yeah,
words,
it's
right? The
true.
second movie literally spells it out. And then when you watch this movie, you're seeing what they have spelled out in the second movie. But so I guess, yeah, because I know the answer, I can't really come up with an alternative.
Yeah, you're done. It's like you can't escape your mind. But it's just kind of interesting that some people can go shoot somebody. They have the will to do that. Like, that's an interesting wrinkle to it. And then she tries to go kill somebody, but it's all a dream because he's just messing with her. So yeah, it's just a terrifying thing too,
Right?
because
If she had just killed herself, and and that was her idea, she figured it out. She didn't spell it out super clearly, but she's like, I need to go end my own life so that I can't pass this on. But why are we going to the cabin of this original trauma of you? There's no special grace to that. Just do it.
yeah, lock yourself in the bathroom and do it.
Or however you're going to do it, just do it. Because it's not like she ever said or truly thought that this all started with her mother. This entity existed elsewhere and was passing on elsewhere with no connection to her and her mother and what she witnessed with her mother. It just parallels the horrible thing that's happening that she witnessed her mother's death like that. So, witnessed the prologue of her mother's death. So there was no reason for her to go back to that house unless they had literally tied this to her somehow. Again, not a negative criticism of the movie, just a thing that she did that made her plan fail. And while we are at this, and while I'm bringing up that the second movie spells it out even more clearly, it is really interesting to me that since I more recently watched the second movie, I don't know, a few months ago, the second movie starts literally at the end of the scene at the end of part one.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is that I'm watching, I'm like, oh man, I kind of wish I remembered part one better. And I realized, like, oh, I know it good enough. And it was totally fine. I could start with that kind of cold open, even if I hadn't seen it, because eventually the movie you learn and have explained to you all the things in part two that are explained in part one. This happens in Scream with variations. This
Mm-hmm.
happens in Freddy movies with right? This is a normal thing. We relearn the things just in case you forgot or you're new to the franchise. But having seen part two and then seeing part one, you could have made part two first, even
Yeah.
with that cold open, and then showed me part one and given me the wow satisfaction of part one ending where part two began, just like Final Destination 5
Five.
ended with the plane crash that was witnessed by the kids who got off the plane at the beginning of Final Destination 1. Doesn't matter if you watch 5 and then 1 or 1 and then 5, it's equally satisfying. So there's an interesting thing where these are sequels that are mutually exclusive in terms of your enjoyment and the order in which you watch them, yet watching them both enriches them both.
And you learn
How
a little bit.
nice is that?
It's and the second one is so visually, you could tell Finn got a bigger budget. He had more time. And like it really explodes Smile too. Like I love
That
Smile too.
theater and performance art theme, though, oh my god, did they
Yeah.
nail the crap out of that?
And that the actress in it, you actually believe she's a pop star. I mean, she sings in Aladdin, she's great, but it's it's totally, you buy all in on it. And I think the good thing about Smile though is that it's sort of like Aaron Newber said, I think Smile kind of like walked so Smile 2 could run. And I think I don't know. I think everything they did with this movie, as far as at least making a mainstream horror, we're not talking A24, we're not talking Neon, we're talking a big theatrical release film. I think what it did well, it just did so many things well, and that's kind of why I like it. And it, but like you said, you can watch both films. You can you get everything from each one. They're like the Final Destination films. Every single Final Destination film, they're doing research. Like who died first? Okay, who died second? Well, if we do this, everyone's the same, but you can kind of watch them on their own and still have fun with them. So it's I don't know, and also too, I know this is random, John, but like Ring, huge hit. You pass along the tape. It follows. That was really popular. Do you pass it on to somebody? Smile. Do you do this? Like it not only does it raise questions to what you would do if you got it, but then it also works as just a little jump scare factory, and it works on I don't know, different elements. So no, this is fun. This has been fun to tackle. I feel like Smile is this little film that could. Like, it was just supposed to be dumped on Paramount Plus, and then Paramount put 50 million into marketing this. And even with that 67 million, it still pulled in 217 just because I have a question, John. Like we love all sorts of horror, but there's horror movies that are made that'll make $7 million, right? I think Smile was made really well to make 200 million, if that makes sense. I don't
Sure.
think I don't think they were expecting that.
Well, I bet they expected, 30 to 50, which would have been an outstanding turnout.
Yeah.
And they just ended up with lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm. And the sequel, I think, is kind of lightning in a bottle again. Parker Finn, I don't know how he did it, but he made a more artistic sequel that's really good. He didn't rest on the laurels. You see some sequels that don't try to become more visually impressive or more dynamic or cover new ground. And that's kind of why I like this franchise more is I think this was from a short film. It was during COVID and they went, hurry, make a feature, shoot it in a month. And then it made 200 million. So I like that. I think it's worth studying. And I've actually enjoyed, I've been doing a lot of work in my backyard. I listen to the commentary. I listen to a lot of the interviews. I've enjoyed kind of being in this movie's headspace because I think it's fun to learn from about how you can make a very, what would you call it, like a horror movie pie with all the different elements, and audiences just flock to it because it's familiar, but it's fun. It's easy to market. And I don't think it panders. You know what's interesting, John? A lot of it doesn't go the Kevin Williamson route of snappy dialogue. This is a dour ass movie.
Mhm.
This is,
It's all smart dialogue, not
yeah.
smart and witty, but smart as in grounded. There's like never a moment where you say to yourself, that doctor wouldn't say that. They would never do that. No one would ever believe. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
say 8 times in every horror movie you watch most of the time. They wouldn't do that. Like we don't have those moments. It's grounded, but horror movies usually aren't grounded because that's boring. No, it's just a lot of work to make grounded not boring. But once you make it grounded and not boring, you're sitting here with a movie like this where I swear to you, there are obviously parts that are slower than other parts, but I never feel like there's a slow minute in the movie.
And I almost think the jump scares are timed at intervals to just get your heart rate back up. And then when there's a low, you get your heart rate back up. I think my favorite jump scare in this one is when she's at the computer and she leans forward to stare at the audio file. And then the thing is just to her left, it like yells at her. That one got me the most.
Right.
Did any of these get you? Did you
And
jump?
and by the way, that was if there is anything that I will call close to a cheap jump scare, it's that.
Yes.
But even still, it was executed so well for a super cheap jump scare that as I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, that was so cheap, but it got me. Like, it's just,
And you know what's kind of funny about that? It's not like a cheap shot, but it's you almost have to respect the jump scare game at that point when it gets you. Like I love a silly jump scare that works. If that makes like I think James Wan has excelled at that. I think a good jump scare needs to be appreciated as much as anything. So even though it's cheap and it's probably only there to get the audience freaked out again, but they're all good. Like with the one where the sister's head twists down. Oh
oh
my
my
god.
God, that is the absolute ultimate pendular holy crap like moment though. That's a really creative thing that they did too. I only remember seeing that distinctly in one other movie, and it was actually a 2017 Argentinian movie called Terrified.
Oh, so that same thing happened.
Aterrado. Hmm?
That same
So
thing.
something, so it's like someone's in a car and who just left the house, and an entity, if you will, you see the front door of the house open, the entity comes out, and as they're coming out, I don't remember if you see it a little bit in the distance, kind of out of focus, but their head is hanging like behind them, like their neck snapped backwards and their neck stretched out a little bit, and so it's like they turn around and you see like the hanging head situation.
Oh,
But so this like I when I see this, I'm almost like, okay, Parker Finn saw Terrified and loved it. And that's where because I find it a little hard to believe because even the situation is similar. You were just in the house, something freaked you out, you get in the car, something that you saw or someone in the house comes right out, right, you look over and then the a swinging head upside down kind of situation. Like there's no that's not a coincidence, I don't think.
and
But I love it in both. There's
I,
no
lo-
criticism here again.
I love that there's a sister with a shitty husband, and then there's another sister in this, and then there's an ex. You know what though, John? You and I make a horror film that's really popular, and then Paramount goes, "Hey, we want to make this movie ASAP." Then you and I have to write a 120-page script. Now we're not gonna write high art, John. We're gonna be like, okay, it follows. This lady passes it to her. She has to figure out what's going on. Who would she talk to? Okay, she has a boyfriend. He's a cop. He can get her information. Yeah. And like, what? What does she do? Well, this is a therapist. So, yeah, okay. So this lady, she goes crazy. And if you go crazy, quote unquote crazy, you go meet a therapist. Okay, so we got a therapist. And like, but then she's hiding things. Like I think you and I are just gonna put not plat like just we're just gonna draw from what we know to write this thing. So I have no ill will towards it. And actually, I
Colored by
think
platitudes.
yeah, just platitudes. Yeah, like you got it. But I think movies like Hereditary, people go, oh, it deals so much with family trauma. I'm like, and they're like mental health. I'm like, no, man, a grandma just wanted to get rich. She screwed over her family. Like, I get it, but come on. Like Midsummer, they're like, oh, it's just so it deals with trauma. I'm like, yeah, but like this Swedish cult brought her there knowing her she can't say no and she's weak from that death of her mom and they can manipulate her. And then eventually she starts living there. And like that's not to me, that doesn't say anything interesting about mental health. So I like that this one doesn't even try. It's like we're just gonna it's a low hanging fruit. She's a therapist. Her mom had issues. The demon can use that. Boom, 200 million. So I like it. I like that it's not being pretentious about how it covers mental health, if that makes sense, John.
Sure.
Yeah. So any final thoughts about this? Any other notes you got?
Just, you know, if you didn't see this, it's probably because you thought it was just like some other cookie cutter horror movie that happened to make a lot of money. By the way, The Gallows made a lot of money, and I thought it was dog shit. So this goes both ways. This is really good.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fantastic popcorn horror. And a lot of fantastic popcorn horrors are maybe a little dumb too, but they're fun. This isn't. This is like a very serious yet still very successful popcorn horror. I super strong recommendation. I don't know how to put it better than that. I
Ooh, mainstream popcorn horror.
and serious.
Yeah, mainstream serious popcorn. Like, well, look at the others. Look at the Ring. Those are all very dead, like Dead Silence. Those are all very super serious. Well, Dead Silence is pretty cheeky, but yeah, no, absolutely. Uh, that's a good, yeah, mainstream serious popcorn horror. Hey, before we get out here, John, I know I sent you some links, but do you want to do let's do a draft on movies that were short, then became, I can read a lot to you, so you don't have to go hunting. Do you want to do a draft from movies that started as a short and became a feature length, but horror?
That could be difficult. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
so I'll read some to you. Evil Dead, the original, Mama, Trick or Treat, Lights Out, Babadook, Saw, Smile, Oculus, Terrifier, What We Do in the Shadows. I'll toss in District 9, Darkness Falls, Jew on the Grudge, uh, Rare Exports. We'll do four each. But like, what's
We'll see how I do here. We'll see how
yeah?
I do. Okay. By the way, when you say Terrifier was based on a short, do you mean the short in the anthology All Hallows Eve?
Yeah, it's what is it called? I wrote down in my notes. It
Well, I
started
mean,
off
there's an anthology movie called All Hallows Eve, and one of the three shorts has Arthur
that
Clown in it.
there. That's what it is. Yeah. So that
Okay.
started off as like an anthology, then became a feature length.
All right. Do I get to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pick Oculus. That was a fantastic short. And
Oh,
that's
I
one of
like
the
that.
shorts that I do remember seeing before the movie came out. That was very effective.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Lights Out because I like that Sandberg a lot, and his YouTube page is great. So I like that he started on that, and he also does when he shoots a short film, he does a making of that I love. So I'm gonna take Lights Out. Also, Don't Breathe was based on a short first.
Saw that. I'm gonna take Mama. I liked that one.
Mama,
I liked Mama.
I want to see the sequel to that. Let's see. I'll do.
I don't think you do.
I want to
I
do the
think you're
Babadook.
wrong.
It's just gonna be a court case. So
I
what
don't
happened
think I
here?
saw the I don't think I saw the sequel for the Babadook or the sequel, the short for the Babadook either, actually. All right.
It's called
So
Monster.
I'm gonna take Tethered. Let's go all the way to five. Let's see if I can make
Okay.
it to five.
Oh, I
I'm
like
taking
that.
Tethered though. Tethered was really cool, by the way. Very good production value. It doesn't even feel like a short. Like it's fantastic.
I'm gonna
Really
take what
harrowing.
I'm gonna take what we do in the shadows.
Oh, of course that was a short.
Oh,
I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm gonna take Rare Exports
I
because
like that
I absolutely love it.
because that's a really good short film. All right, Rare Exports. I'm gonna take Don't Breathe since that was based on a short.
All right, ready? And here's the thing that no one expected. Now I'm going to take Rare Exports, the official safety instructions, which is the second short film that they did over a year later and still 3 years before they got support to do Rare Exports. The official safety instructions might even be the better short, by the way.
Love that
The
so much.
second one.
I'm gonna take Night Swim because I like that short. And the movie's not great. It's people just looking at a pool going, "There's something wrong with the pool." And then 10 minutes later, I think something's wrong with the pool. But I'm gonna take Night Swim. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose my horror pool card. Hey, we did it. We got five.
You know something that you didn't do.
Hmm.
You talked about investigative horror movies a lot.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention like your favorite investigative horror movie ever.
Malignant?
It's only slightly investigative though, just in like the third act maybe.
What is it?
Swim Fan. Remember he's got
Yeah.
to figure
Who
out what
is
happened.
this? Yeah.
They go to like that like mental health facility where that old baseball
Oh
player was, who
yeah.
was like lobotomized with a brain injury because Erica Christensen, back when she dated him at the other school, right?
Yeah. Oh man. That's a bummer.
Ah,
Oh. And also every Saw movie is kind of an investigative horror film, isn't it?
I don't think it's in the same way though. They're just trying to find a killer. I don't really
Yeah, that's
feel
true.
like I. It's a little different when you're trying to figure out the horror as opposed to just catch the killer.
Hmm.
And they're always two steps behind. Typically, not that I don't love those movies, but again, super tropey at that point.
Man, John, this was awesome. We did it. We did smile. And thanks for going along with all my questions. And I had a good time researching this. I had a good time thinking about this movie. I had a good time living with it. So I appreciate you joining me.
Smile is such a satisfying rewatch too. It's because this just came out, what, 2022?
Mm-hmm. Man,
Like
Sosie Bacon goes through it.
that's not very long ago. Like watching this again, it actually felt like really fresh and almost enjoyable, like I just unwrapped it. Like,
It moves. It's almost 2 hours, but you're right. It moves because there's always something going. She, the lady kills herself and then she goes home. She starts seeing things and then she goes and talks to the cop. She gets fired. She visits the lady. She goes to the prison. She gets fired from her job. She has the
it
birthday party.
it
There's a
never
lot.
feels slow. Never
There-
feels slow. The
yeah.
parts that would be slow, if it was cast differently, executed differently, directed differently, like all the scenes with Kal Penn.
Yeah.
Think about it, any this movie is made by any other group of people. These are like cookie cutter scenes, like, oh, you seem to be losing it. I think you got to take some time off. Whereas he's so great in them, and they're so endearing, and they're kind of cheeky, but not like tongue in cheek. I don't.
You know what's smart? You know what's smart, John? If you and I need to make expository, if we know we're gonna have boring scenes, we get Cal Penn, we get Lamorne Morris, or like we get actors we really like that whenever they pop up on screen, you're like, hey, it's Cal Penn, or hey, it's Lamorne
Right.
Morris, or hey, it's Bruce Campbell, or hey, it's Aubrey Plaza. Like just put them in there during the slow scenes so that everybody in the audience is like, hey, I
Cal
like.
actually did a great job. It's not just that he's Cal Penn. He did a great job.
Yeah, he does do it. And you don't want him to get stabbed. You don't want him to get hurt. He's actually a good boss. Yeah, I like this movie. And I like that guy's tech vest that he wears for dinner, the terrible brother in law. I think the only reason she went to the cabin at the end was just to keep it cheap. And let's just go to a cabin. That way we can hire a giant actor, stuff him in some cool makeup, and then have him insert himself into Sosie Bacon's mouth.
Maybe Rose was thinking, like, now none of my loved ones have to clean up a place that I live.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to burn it down for them.
Like one line of dialogue. Just give me that line of dialogue, Rose. That's all I needed. And I'd be like, oh, that's why you're going to the cabin. I just wanted to find a place that I know I have access to, or if it gets all bloody and messied up and burnt down, it doesn't harm anybody financially, and no one has that I love has to clean it up and see it. That's a good reason.
So we need her to say that to Cal Penn. And he's like, huh.
Yeah, just tell my husband,
Yeah.
who will later be a star in The Boys. Or I guess he was already a star from The
A
Boys.
train. Oh man. Well, John, hey, where can people find you, man?
Boy, yeah, you Google John's Horror Corner, and well, you'll find me on all the social media that I'm not too old to use.
And you see this new stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much work.
You'll also find me on Movies, Films, and Flicks.
That's right. New reviews up. But John, thank you for joining me, man.
Cheers.
All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for John Lovigood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.